as retaliation, sophomore boss move?
It's a boss move, and Wims is a big dude, so when you pick that battle, you better be ready to go all the way there.
Then we have Wims punching a man with a helmet on in the head. Soft move or boss move?
Now that's a soft move. That's how you break your hand, fracture your wrist, or do something that's going to affect your livelihood, especially as a receiver.
Now, to me, this was the most curious element of the whole thing. Gardner-Johnson being completely stoic and unresponsive after being repeatedly punched in the head by his opponent on a football field. Soft move or boss move?
That's a boss move, because he was trying to get him ejected at that point. It's like you saw him throw the punch. You saw me not retaliate, so he should actually be the person that gets ejected, not me.
And then finally, Janoris Jenkins leapfrogging on the top of everybody at the end. Soft move or boss move?
Now, it's a boss move to help out your teammate, but it's soft because he can't get that big dude down. Look, he tried to tackle Wims. Look, he can't get him down, Jacoby. I tried to tell you, Wims was a big dude.
he looks like my 7-year-old trying to get a piggyback from me. Well, to everybody, while we do not condone violence in sports or anywhere, we do enjoy to talk about it from time to time. Now, Jalen, we've really celebrated this weekend in sports, but you need help. You need an intervention, Jalen. It is now intervention time. Jalen, Michigan, you said was going to wax Michigan State. That was not the case. The Lions at 3-3 had you feeling good. That was not the case. You need an intervention. You're in abusive relationships with these two teams. You're in an emotionally abusive relationship with both of these teams, and I encourage you to take on the die easy lifestyle. I know how this affects you deeply. Please stop rooting for these two teams.
Look, man, look. I mean, it's crazy out here. So here's the thing, Jacob. The Lions were like 1-9 against teams with winning records when we go into the game. Our last 10 times we play them. Mm-hmm. And this loss to Michigan State, fam, was the worst loss for me since Harbaugh became our head coach. It was the first time I went to the locker room with my team in the maize and blue and cried, because Michigan State just lost to Rutgers. They're a crosstown rival. The season just started, and they did the unthinkable. They rendered the rest of our season virtually irrelevant unless we beat Ohio State. That's exactly what you want to do to your rival. Some of my favorite people in the world have gone to Michigan State University, including people in my family. I must bow down to Sparty for now. Basketball season is coming, and you guys know how much I love Tom Izzo, but I was very disappointed in the loss by my Michigan Wolverines against the Michigan State Spartans. Very disappointing, Jacoby.
Well, Jalen, just imagine how you're going to feel when they get waxed by the Buckeyes. Jalen, we have Russell Wilson dominating again, linking up with Metcalf. We have the Cowboys once again looking terrible, and so much more. We'll discuss it all. Stay tuned. You're watching Jalen and Jacoby. I am David Jacoby. We are Jalen and Jacoby. What is it that we do?
We give the people what they want.
Jalen, we have so much to get to coming off this weekend in the NFL and in sports, and we start with the big game in the AFC. It was the Ravens hosting the Steelers, and the Steelers stayed undefeated, but it was Lamar Jackson who's under pressure during the game and after the game. What did you think about Lamar's performance?
I just liked that it was physical. Too many turnovers for Lamar. That's going to be a problem for this team moving forward, Jacoby, especially losing Stanley on the front line, who they just signed to a big contract. He had 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles. You just can't make those mistakes against the Pittsburgh Steelers and a championship-level quarterback like Ben Roethlisberger.
You absolutely can't. And one of the things about this game is the Ravens played better. It was those turnovers. Now, one of those fumbles was insignificant because it was 4th down. He was just kind of reaching for the sticks, never going to get there anyway. Only cost him a couple yards. But one of the things about this team is Ben Roethlisberger didn't play well. He didn't do anything in the first half, played well in the second half. But when you have the defense that they have, you can create these turnovers because TJ Watt specifically is in the backfield pressuring Lamar so many times. Let me get the numbers right. He had 5 QB hits, 1 sack, and 5 tackles. And we all know that Minkah Fitzpatrick play at the end of the game that sealed the game for the Steelers. It was the down before that when TJ Watt put his hand on Lamar's chest and disrupted that play. TJ Watt was an absolute beast. And when you have a defense that does this, you can win like this. Now, you mentioned Staley going down. Jalen, what do you think the implications are of that moving forward for the Ravens?
I'm looking deeper in the box score, Jacoby, and as the Titans and the Ravens both run dominant teams, lose dominant offensive players on their line, it's going to affect their run game. And it's going to affect the pass game in particular for the Baltimore Ravens. You know how much Lamar loved to throw it across the middles to Andrews. The Steelers took that away. And Dobbins had a great game rushing the ball yesterday, but it's going to be interesting to see how they make up for this amazing loss on their front line when they just paid him a big-time deal. He just got paid the highest deal in the history of an offensive lineman. So I'm glad he got his bag before he got injured.
Absolutely. Sort of the opposite of what happened with Dak Prescott. The Steelers did give up 265 rushing yards, perhaps giving the rest of the AFC and the NFL a blueprint of how to beat this now undefeated team. From the undefeated in the AFC to the recently very much defeated in the AFC. You've been talking all season long about this is Cam's year to prove himself. He is auditioning for the future of his career. That audition did not go that well yesterday against the Buffalo Bills with a fumble at the end. What did you see from Cam yesterday?
Jeezy said it. Now that ain't this, and this ain't that. Cam, I'm really disappointed in his performance, Jacoby. He had a chance to at least drive his team down the field later and put him in position to possibly win the game. And Cam Newton, the former MVP, the seasoned veteran, the OG of running the football amongst quarterbacks, got it stripped. But here's what I'll say, and I saw this happen to DeAndre Hopkins a couple of weeks ago. It's one thing when you run and making moves as a skilled player against linebackers and defensive backs. But when you got them linemen raking at the ball, usually when they get a good paw on it, it's coming loose. And Cam had it in the wrong hand, but still, that's a great hustle play, and you reward the defense clearly on a play like that.
It was a great play by Justin Zimmer. I think so much will be said about Cam not holding the ball in the right hand and Cam losing the fumble. This is Cam's first lost fumble of the entire season. It was a really phenomenal play by Zimmer, and this was a game that was at the very worst for the Patriots going into overtime. But these are the things that swing seasons. We talked about this being a pivotal game for both of these teams. Now the Bills looking at top of the AFC East, looking comfortable. And the Patriots are now looking at their season. And what are they saying to themselves about the future of the 2020 Patriots?
Ski mask and gloves. Hope you renting if you're a member of the Patriots or leasing, because they're about to clean house. Watch. You're about to look up. It's going to be like the Patriots trading who? Who's on the block? That's what's about to take place. This is a team, Jacoby, that has won 6 Super Bowls in the last 20 years. This ain't the NFC East where we like, oh, they still got a chance to win the division. They're not trying to win divisions, Jacoby. They're trying to win Super Bowls. And guess what they're not doing this year? Contending. I anticipate they will be cleaning house.
Absolutely. The only person who's safe in their position with the Patriots is Bill Belichick. Everybody else is concerned on Monday and moving forward. Well, staying with the AFC East, and a new contender in that division is the Miami Dolphins. They made the decision to put Fitzpatrick on the bench and start Tua after a bye week against the Rams defense. Didn't look good at first, but looked good in the end. What did they do to support Tua to get them this victory against the Rams?
Shout to Brian Flores, who made a great decision as the head coach. And also shout to Mike Tomlin, who passed Tony Dungy for the most wins for an African-American coach. And when you do this, you set yourself up to get criticized, Jacoby, especially when Aaron Donald gets that sack early in the game. But then all of a sudden, the team dynamic kicked in, and they got a touchdown from each phase, a total team victory. That's how you propel a young starting quarterback in his first game to victory.
They were outgained by 326 yards in this game. Again, they were outgained by 326 yards in this game. But like you said, it was a team victory. And I want to focus on the defense, who had some really great schemes against the Rams, who like to scheme for you. They were getting at Goff, and they were tipping balls at the line. They even had Springfield, Massachusetts' own Christian Wilkins go back in coverage and get an interception. Look at the big man right there, getting the interception. This was a really, really well-designed defense against a Rams offense, which is built to trick you, and it worked. And Jalen, I've got some good news for Miami Dolphins fans. Look at their upcoming games. It was definitely the right decision to start Tua here because they're favored to win in 4 of their 5 next games. Do you see them going on a little run here?
I hope so for Tua, and you just got to keep that guy upright. And when you're shouting out Springfield, you better shout out Travis Best. I played my McDonald's High School All-American game there in Springfield. It's great that the Dolphins are relevant. And again, when you have a quarterback under center that gives you promise in the year where you see rookie quarterbacks like Herbert and Burrow doing really well, it's time to give Tua that opportunity. And he did a great job leading them to victory in his first game.
Jalen, I was going to make a joke about how you will never be in Springfield in the Hall of Fame, but you were recognized by the Hall of Fame just a couple years ago. So salute to you and all your efforts that actually got you in Springfield through the back door. Moving on to the Saints and Bears game. This one was frankly closer than it should have been, but ultimately it was Alvin Kamara who ran and caught and gained the Saints to the victory. What did you think about Kamara's big day?
He just glides. And for you young football fans out there, this is shades of Gale Sayers. And of course, he's not doing it in the return game like Gale. But man, when he gets the football in his hands, don't it just look like he's smoother and faster than everyone else, Jacoby?
Yes.
Can run it between the tackles. He's a terrific receiver coming out of the backfield and playing without Michael Thomas, playing without Emmanuel Sanders. Drew Brees can continue to use this guy as a dual threat and propel them to victory against a tough defense like the Chicago Bears.
Kamara has 55 receptions through 7 games, which according to Elias is the most for a running back in the history of the NFL since the merger. Very impressive from him. One thing I do want to mention is that if you look at Nick Foles' stats, 28, completed passes, 272 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. They don't sound that bad, but when you watch Nick Foles, it looks that bad. And I have to wonder if Matt Nagy isn't thinking, maybe we'll bring Trubisky back. He's a little bit more mobile, a little bit more athletic. He can move the pocket. He can get out of the pocket and do some things.